Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone.
Representatives from the California Highway Patrol say that they have arrested a person responsible for the brazen theft of a party bus this week after the suspect took the stolen vehicle onto the highway and led police on a high-speed chase. According to reports, the incident began at approximately 10:15 a.m. on February 22nd when a driver from the Top Dog limo bus company arrived to pick up some clients in San Diego's Pacific Beach neighborhood. When the driver got out to notify the clients that they had arrived, they left the party bus running, evidently believing that they would only be gone for a second. However, the short window of time turned out to be more than enough for the vehicle to be stolen by an opportunistic thief, who quickly hopped into the party bus and sped away. Though the vehicle theft was quickly reported to local police, it wasn't until an hour and a half later that they got their first lead concerning its whereabouts. It happened when the owner of the Top Dog limo bus company got a call from an angry driver on Interstate 405 who called to report that a person behind the wheel of one of their party buses was driving erratically. The company owner informed the driver that the vehicle had actually been stolen, and the caller agreed to stay on the phone until the police could make it out to the location. California Highway Patrol finally caught up with the stolen party bus at around 11:45 a.m. as it traveled northbound towards the Los Angeles area. For nearly the next hour, officers pursued the party bus as it sped dangerously past several cities, reaching speeds of up to 90 miles per hour. The chase finally came to an end at around 12:36 p.m. when the vehicle rear-ended a silver sedan, causing the bus to come to a stop on the wrong side of the road. It was at that point that the suspect exited the party bus with their hands up and was taken into custody. While the name of the suspect has not been released at the time of this recording, most reports we came across identified them as a woman. At least one other report alleged that the woman had been seen running into random businesses with a shopping cart and stealing items shortly before taking off with the party bus.
Representatives from the Massachusetts State Police say that they have arrested and charged a 24-year-old man this week after he was allegedly caught trying to get into a tiger enclosure at a Boston zoo. The incident began at approximately 8:45 a.m. on February 21st, when staff at Boston's Franklin Park Zoo noticed a man in a non-public area behind the Tiger Tails exhibit. The exhibit is home to Anala, a Bengal tiger mix. When the man realized that he had been spotted by staff members, he quickly climbed over a nearby gate and attempted to escape. However, he was found and taken into custody by the zoo's security staff roughly 15 minutes later. The man was subsequently identified as 24-year-old Matthew Abraham, a Worcester State University student majoring in biology. Following Abraham's arrest, he reportedly made a number of bizarre statements to police, the first of which was that he had committed the crime because he was, quote, very interested in tigers. He also claimed that he didn't know that he had to pay admission to the zoo because it was winter, and thought that he was simply allowed to view the exhibit. According to zoo officials, this could not possibly be true. While Abraham did not make it into the actual enclosure where the tiger is kept, they say that he still would have had to climb multiple fences and ignore several signs telling him that he was trespassing to get where he was spotted. In subsequent interviews with the media, Abraham reportedly claimed that he didn't mean to harm anyone, including himself or the tiger, going on to say that he just wanted to see how a tiger would react to a human being. He also said that he wanted to get close enough to see into the tiger's eyes, saying, quote, they say it's something called the eye of the tiger. They say the eye of the tiger is the most dangerous thing you'll ever see in your whole life. They say that the soul is visible through the eye. What this means is anyone's guess, although the stunt reportedly earned Abraham charges of trespassing and disorderly conduct. If you're a regular viewer of our Crimes of the Week series, you'll probably know that Abraham is just the latest in a growing number of people who have gotten into trouble for trying to illegally get into animal enclosures at zoos across the United States. Maybe he can get together in the future and compare notes with the El Paso Zoo monkey woman or the notorious Bronx Zoo cat lady.
Authorities in Columbus County, North Carolina say that a 36-year-old man is in custody this week after he reportedly tried to fake his own death in order to avoid more than 70 felony charges for crimes he allegedly committed while working as a local police chief. According to reports, on February 21st, 36-year-old William Spivey was reported missing by family members after he failed to return home from a fishing trip on the Lumber River in the town of Fairbluff. When police went to search the area where Spivey had supposedly been fishing, they soon recovered his boat, along with his abandoned car which had been left at a nearby boat landing. A further search of the area reportedly revealed handwritten letters as well as a rifle, leading family members to tell police that they thought Spivey had taken his own life. However, investigators didn't buy the story, believing that Spivey had instead staged the scene and had gone on the run. In addition to evidence found at the Lumber River, detectives supported their theory by pointing to Spivey's recent legal troubles. In April of 2021, Spivey was arrested after he was accused of repeatedly raiding the Chadbourn Police Department's evidence room while serving as the town's police chief. In addition to a variety of drugs, it was alleged that he stole thousands of dollars in cash and firearms. Perhaps most heinous of all, he was also accused of embezzling $8,000 meant for a family whose son died following a battle with leukemia. He was subsequently slapped with more than 70 felony charges, including 31 counts of altering, stealing, or destroying evidence, 31 counts of embezzlement by a public official, and 4 counts of trafficking opiates by possession. Following Spivey's arrest, he managed to post a $500,000 bond, despite attempts by Columbus County District Attorney to keep him in jail ahead of his trial. The fear was that he was a flight risk, so when he disappeared on February 21st ahead of an impending court date, authorities were more than a little suspicious, especially when the evidence suggested that he had staged the scene left behind at the Lumber River. A number of warrants were put out for Spivey's arrest, and on February 24th, he was found hiding out at his aunt's house in the city of Loris, South Carolina. According to reports, he tried to hide by submerging himself in a creek behind the house when officers arrived at the scene. However, he was spotted and arrested after a brief foot chase. At the time of this recording, Spivey is awaiting extradition back to North Carolina, where it's expected that he will now face even more charges.
Authorities in Salt Lake County, Utah say that they have arrested a 27-year-old man this week after he reportedly instructed his 4-year-old son to shoot at a police officer during a confrontation that began over a mistake with a fast food order. According to reports, the incident took place at approximately 1:30 p.m. on February 21st, when Sadat Johnson went through the drive-thru at a local McDonald's in the city of Midvale. After receiving his order and realizing that it was put together incorrectly, Johnson allegedly became agitated. Things only escalated when employees at the location asked him to move to the front of the restaurant so that they could sort things out, and Johnson pulled out a gun. Police were quickly called, and when they arrived at the scene, they found Johnson still enraged. When they asked him to get out of his car voluntarily, he reportedly refused, leading officers to open one of the doors and pull him out. As police were working to get Johnson in cuffs, one of them allegedly noticed something alarming. A gun was being pointed at them through the back window of Johnson's vehicle. Even more alarming was who was holding the weapon. It was Johnson's 4-year-old son. It was at that point that Johnson allegedly told the boy to shoot. Though the boy reportedly complied with his father's orders and fired the weapon, thankfully, further tragedy was averted by one of the officers who was able to swipe the gun out of the way at the last second. While the officer's hand was apparently burned in the process, rather than anyone being hit by the bullet, the gun fired upwards into the awning on the exterior of the restaurant. According to reports, Johnson was successfully arrested following the shooting and is now facing charges of felony child abuse and misdemeanor threat or use of a dangerous weapon. Both his 4-year-old son and his 3-year-old daughter, who was also present at the time, have since been taken into the care of state social workers.
Authorities in Brevard County, Florida say that they recently arrested a brazen shoplifter after he was allegedly caught on video stuffing a crossbow down his pants in order to smuggle it out of a local home improvement store. According to reports, the incident took place on February 6th when a man named Darren Durant took a trip to a True Value store in the community of Mims. While inside, he was allegedly captured on the store's surveillance video leaning on a crutch while walking through the aisles, at some point picking up a pair of cutting tools off one of the shelves and heading over to a $1,300 crossbow. Once Durant cut the crossbow off the wall where it was hanging, it was apparently clear that he had only brought the crutch with him as a prop. After casually leaning the crutch up against a shelf, he proceeded to shove the crossbow down the front of his pants before continuing to walk with the crutch as if he had a limp. According to reports, though there was a fairly obvious bulge in Durant's pants and the handle of the crossbow was sticking out, he was still able to limp out of the hardware store without attracting the attention of the employees. It wasn't until staff members noticed that the crossbow was missing and they reviewed the store's surveillance footage that they noticed the bizarre theft taking place. A few days after the incident, Durant was spotted in the parking lot of a nearby Walgreens by police officers. Though he reportedly tried to run away, he didn't get very far. According to reports, Durant is now being held in the Seminole County Jail on an unrelated burglary charge. It's said that he will soon face additional felony charges for the Crossbow theft. In a post to social media announcing the arrest this week, Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey called Durant, quote, one of the world's dumbest criminals.
Representatives from Virginia's Henry County Sheriff's Office are extending their thanks to an unlikely helper this week, who they say recently aided in the arrest of a fleeing suspect. That helper was a local goat named Gracie. According to reports, the incident took place on February 13th, when 2 deputies in Henry County were out investigating a domestic assault case in the community of Fielddale. It began when they told a male suspect that he was under arrest, prompting the man to try to escape on foot. When the suspect jumped over a fence and started running through a field, the deputies began to chase him. However, it wasn't long before one of them noticed that they had a bit of unexpected backup. A goat named Gracie had also joined in on the pursuit and was now running alongside the deputies towards the suspect. To the deputies' further surprise, when they reached the next line of fencing in the field, the goat continued to participate in the chase, eventually running in front of them and following the suspect into a wooded area. As one of them stayed put, the other went around to the other side of the woods to try and flush the suspect out. He eventually succeeded, again with the help of Gracie the goat. After that, the suspect was arrested. Following the bizarre chase, Gracie was safely returned to her owner, though police were quick to make a Facebook post thanking her for her help. The post amusingly noted, quote, sometimes help comes in all shapes and sizes. At the time of this recording, the name of the suspect in the case has not been released.
Authorities in Las Vegas, Nevada say that they're searching for at least 2 suspects this week after a shooting at a local hookah lounge left at least 1 person dead and more than a dozen others wounded. According to reports, police were alerted to the incident at about 3:15 a.m. on February 26th when they received calls that multiple people had been shot at Manny's Glow Ultra Lounge and Restaurant on the 900 block of East Sahara Avenue. When they arrived, they discovered that 14 people had been shot during the incident, one of whom died from their injuries. At least 2 others were rushed to the hospital with critical injuries. Witnesses told police that the shooting had started when 2 men started arguing at the hookah lounge, leading to an exchange of gunfire involving at least 2 weapons. There was reportedly a party happening at the hookah lounge at the time. At the time of this recording, few other details are available about the investigation. Police say that they're currently looking for 2 suspects, but have not provided any details about their identities or whether they currently have any leads. The situation remains under investigation.
Authorities in Fort Worth, Texas say that a 24-year-old man is back in police custody this week after a missing woman he was previously accused of assaulting was found dead under his house. According to reports, 26-year-old Marissa Grimes was first reported missing on February 14th, 2 days after she was last seen by her parents. At the time she went missing, she was reportedly headed to a friend's house in Fort Worth to pick up personal belongings. On February 21st, investigators found a vehicle tied to the case that reportedly led them to a residence on the 5800 block of Locke Avenue, the home of 24-year-old Valerian Austin. Austin's home was searched the next day, and evidence was quickly discovered inside, suggesting that a crime had been committed there. Tragically, human remains were soon found under the house, which were later proven to be those of Marissa Grimes. While it's unclear why Austin wasn't arrested right after the discovery of the remains, according to reports, he was taken into custody 1 day later when police stopped receiving signal from his court-ordered ankle monitor. It turned out that Austin had purposely let the batteries die on the monitor before cutting off the device entirely, and he was arrested after a warrant was issued for him. However, this would prove to be far from the only alarming update about the case, as it was soon announced that not only was Austin the prime suspect in Marissa's murder, but at the time the incident took place, he was out on bond for domestic violence charges against her. Despite the fact that Austin had 5 previous felony convictions and the district attorney's office stated that Marissa would be in extreme danger if Austin were released on bail for the domestic violence charges, His bond was set at just $15,000, and he was merely forbidden from contacting Marissa. The decision to release Osteen on bail has understandably been met with outrage from Marissa's family and friends, as well as the general public, many of whom have argued that nothing was done to prevent her murder. At the time of this recording, Osteen remains in custody on suspicion of capital murder. However, charges against him have yet to be officially filed. That's it for this edition of Crimes of the Week. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.